my hair. Okay, I begin with chapter of Tehillim. I'll recite chapter 23 in Tehillim. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא יחסר, בינו דשא ירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינעלני. נפשי ישובב ינחני במעגלי צדק למען שמו, גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות, לא אירא רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שלוחן נגד צורריי, דשנת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה, אך טוב החסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. So we're here to bring to final rest Margalit Bat Eliezer a Kohen. She passed away closer to her 89th birthday. She was born November 6, 1936, Hebrew date 21 of Cheshvan. So those of you who knew Margalit, she was full of life, talking with passion, like a real Israeli. You know, she came from Jerusalem to Vancouver in 1969 with a little daughter, and then she had a son in Vancouver. Raising a family in Vancouver those days, even today is not easy, but back then was not easy for an immigrant to come to Vancouver and to try to make a living and to give the best for their children. Margalit are very strong. I remember coming to her house at least once or twice, and very opinionated, strong person, very strong personality, full of life. You may argue with me over this, but I feel that she knew how to fight, she knew how to run a fight, and how to debate, but at the same time she knew how she wanted the person to feel great after. She wanted to make sure that the individuals that she talked to actually felt her love. And whatever she's arguing is not for herself, it's for them. And in fact, she was an example for that, because she was kind, very generous, as one of you just mentioned to me before, heart made of gold. And I always tell people that the people with good heart having the most, sometimes challenging them to be quiet. Because when you're so kind and caring, it bothers you when other people are not doing what they're supposed to do. Huh? No kidding, exactly. Like, you know, if you don't care, you're just very selfish, in a way you live the most comfortable life because nothing bothering you. There's nothing to argue about. But when you're so much in love and caring, then there's more passion in life. And those passions leads to wonderful conversations that sometimes gets excited and sometimes there's misunderstandings. But she knew how to bring the closure and to be forgiven when needed and to make sure that the persons come first. And she always put people first. And even when she knew when she argued a point, she put people first. And she definitely cared about her kids. I remember the conversation about her kids, about her daughter that passed away. It wasn't easy for her. She had difficulties, challenges in her life, but she had the spirit with resilience to overcome it. You know, her passion and love brought her also, you know, to collect items. Now, and I have to mention that because this is a beautiful thing that sometimes our generation overlook in a way, because we live in a recycling generation, buying and Amazon generation, and just buying and throwing out stuff and don't like to fix anything. just something broken to buy something new. And she represented a generation that loved everything they had. Everything they had ownership over it, they had memories around it, and they loved it. In fact, in the Bible, it says about Jacob that Jacob ran back the other side of the river alone to collect something that he forgot. Something small that maybe cost by Amazon $1 or $2. But he went especially back to collect something that he left behind, and the commentary explaining because good people care about their belonging. They just don't get rid of it. They care about their belonging. And I think that was Margalit's big heart. She loved everything about her life. She loved the people around her. She loved her family. And she loved also what was belonged to her. She appreciated it. And it's something that maybe we sometimes been judgmental about. But it's something, in fact, to value and appreciate more and more, especially in our generation. She passed away in a very special month. And she lived a very long life. It's never, a loss is a loss. And she lived void and emptiness behind her. But she lived a very long life. But she passed away in a very special time of the year. It's month of Elul. Month of Elul is one of the most fascinating months of the Jewish calendar. It's a month of forgiveness and reflections, but also a month of generosity, of giving. The acronym of the month of Elul is Ish Lere'eu Matanot Le'evyonim. A person to his fellow, to be generous and give gifts to everyone who is in need. She gave everything she had. In some time, or all the time, she gave more what she had. She is kind and generous and expressed her generosity through words, love and care, and sometimes too much love, but a lot of love and care. And this is the month of Elul. More the love and generosity that Margalit had and the care will stay a legacy. How to appreciate life, to appreciate what you have, to appreciate what you don't have too, and to know that life is here to live the fullest possible and to do the best you can, even though life is not perfect. And this is Margalit's legacy and will always be remembered in our heart. And I'd like to ask her son Joe to share some of her memories of his mother.
I just want to start off by thanking everybody for being here, of course. And just to give you a heads up, I didn't sleep very well last night, so I might be a little off and get a little emotional up here, but I'm sure you can understand. Where do I begin? I was asked, what did you write down? What did you put down on a piece of paper? I thought, you know what? It's going to come from my heart, because that's the way my mom was. Everything was from the heart. I have a lot of things to say about my mother, and a lot of it is very good. Unfortunately, Shmulik took a bit of my thunder away, because yeah, of course. I'll prove it and then some.
Exactly.
one of the few things that I've gotten from my mother, and I've learned from her, and you know, inherited from her, is her sense of love and compassion. And she was very encouraging, and like Shmulik said, sometimes she showed a bit too much love, and people couldn't understand that. If you really knew my mother, you either loved her very much or you just didn't like her. But I never ever heard anybody say, I really hate that woman, in my whole life, ever. And it was really hard for me to let go of her, because as a child, when a mother and father have a child, whether it's a female, male, or other, there's the child always sort of gravitates more to the mother, or one more to the father. And I gravitated more to my mother as to my father, and my sister was gravitating more. She had a stronger, more bond with my father than with my mother, and I had the bond with my mother, really strong. And I was actually lucky when I was growing up. My father, may he rest in peace, was the breadwinner and the builder of the house, and my mother was more of a housewife and took care of the kids. And so I was fortunate that way to have her more in my life, as opposed to her out working and not being there for me. And there's a story I want to tell you. It's a short story. It won't take very long, but when I was growing up, like a child, like a boy, a young man, teens growing up, you make your parents cry sometimes. And I remember I've made my mother cry a few times. And they were ones I'll never forget. And it just showed how much heart she had towards the children, me and my sister. I remember one day I had just started with the bus company in 2004. I was on the job for about 6 months or so, a year, not very long. And my parents, they had a stall at the Vancouver Flea Market, just off Main and Terminal there. So that particular day, I happened to be doing the 3, the main bus. And I was going south, and I pulled up to the SkyTrain there, the Main Street SkyTrain. And there was a whole bunch of people getting on the bus, and I saw my mother. She was going to get on the bus. And I thought, oh, this is going to be good. First time she's ever been on my bus, of course. And everybody's getting on and shuffling across. And when my mom got on the bus, she walked past the fare box, and I reached my arm out. I said, lady, you didn't pay. And she got scared, and she looked at me, and she saw me, and she just almost fell over. She couldn't believe it. So she sat down, and she had a friend with her, and she started crying, like literally crying. And people on the bus were like, oh my God, what's wrong with her? Is she okay? Like, she's crying. Like, she was literally crying. And so her friend said, no, she's fine, she's fine. And everybody was like, why are you crying, lady? She says, that's my son. He's taking me home on the bus. And it affected me as well. I mean, I had a little trouble driving, but it was a good cry. It was a good feeling, And her heart was like gold and platinum and everything you can think of. And she taught me a lot. She taught me mainly about how to love, how to be a human being, how to be compassionate. And she was always encouraging, always. And, there's there's times where, as you get older, it's like you think to yourself, oy vey, if it's not one thing, it's your mother, and there's times that, we didn't agree on certain things, and that's life, but there was always that love there. There was always the compassion and the caring, which I will take with me until I'm on the other side. And I will always have that with me. And she really loved the people around her. And to know her was to love her very much. And she was never interested in materialistic things and beautiful fur coats and things like that. She was always, we were always, she'd always go to Fraser Street and buy secondhand clothes and really nice clothes, and that's how I grew up. She was not materialistic in any way, shape, or form. And I'm really going to miss her a lot. And I did get a chance to say goodbye to her, which I'm glad. It was the day before she passed away. It was on Sunday. I came to see her like around 3 o'clock, and I stayed with her for a few hours, left around 6. And when I was speaking to her and talking to her, I could tell she was acknowledging, and she knew she couldn't speak. And dinner time came around 4:45, and I said, listen, one of the nurses, I said, I know you can't feed her food, but can you get me a milkshake or something with a straw so she could at least drink something? And she brought it to me, and I put it to her mouth. I inserted the straw, and she grasped onto it, and she didn't even have enough strength to drink. So I knew that when I wake up the next day, she's not going to be with me. She'll be gone. And I tried to stay as long as I could, but I knew that had she passed away in front of me, I would not have been able to handle it, so I had to leave. But yeah, I was able to make peace with her and tell her that I love her, and I told her to give her my regards, give my regards to my sister when she sees her. Tell her that I love her too. And yeah, so I think I'm going to end it there for now. And thanks again for coming, everybody. It's nice to see you here. And if anybody else would like to come up and say a few words, please feel free. And I'll let you take over. Okay.
So I will say chapter Avram said it to Sarah when she passed away, and we said every Friday night in our Shabbat table with the family. And this chapter from Abraham said to Sarah is in our Bible, and I'll read it. אשת חיל מי ימצא ורחוק מפנינים מכרע, בטח בא לב בעלה ושלל לא יחסר, גמלתו הוא טוב ולא רק כל ימי חייה, כפה פרסה לעני וידיה שלחה לאביון, נודע בשערים בעלה בשבתו עם זקני הארץ, עוז ועדר לבושה ותשחק ליום האחרון, פיה פתחה בחוכמה ותורת חסד על לשונה, צופיה הליכות ביתה ולחם מצלול לא תאכל, קמו בניה ויעשוע בעלה ויעללה, רבות בנות עשו חיל ועד עלית על כולנה, שקר החן והבל היופי, אישה יראת אדוני תתעלל, תנו להם פרי ידיה ויעלו בשרי מעשיה. This chapter very much capture her life. Dedication to her family, love and kindness and to everyone around her. Nights to stay up to make sure that everything is fine, looking after everybody, and most importantly is not being materialistic, as Joe said. She knew exactly what to value in life and what most important in life. And this chapter really capture her legacy. תהי נשמת מרגלית בת אליעזר הכהן צרורה בצרור החיים. Please rise for קהל מלא רחמים. אל מלא רחמים שוכן במרומים, אמצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטובים כסוהר, כי הם מזהירים את נשמת מרגלית בת אליעזר הכהן, שהלכה לעולמה בעבור שנתבות צדקה, בעד אזכרת נשמתה, בגן עדן תהא מנוחתה לכם ברחמים, יסתירה בצדק כנפיו לעולמים ויצור לכם נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשם במשכבה, ונאמר אמן. Now we're going to ask 5 people to help to carry 6 people to coffin, and this is like just like Jacob did to Rachel, to his wife Rachel. So we're bringing her to a final rest. So okay. We're going to do 7 chapters. We start in a 7